Alright guys, so today we're going to be going over the latest LEC tier list, this one from IWDOMINATE, obviously a massive personality and content creator in the scene. He recently posted his LEC tier list onto his YouTube channel and it did very well, got something like 80,000 views or something like that. You guys should definitely go check that out. In this video today I wanted to go over the tier list, react to it, give some of my thoughts and opinions, and hopefully give your thoughts and opinions as well. You know, what do you think about all the different teams? Where do you think about how Dom ranked them? Where do you think he's right, wrong, and all of that good stuff. But of course, before we get into this, just want to mention real quick, obviously everything we're doing here on Sheep Esports is powered by Holy. These are great tasting energy drinks that are also healthier than the competition, so you guys should definitely go check out that first link in the description below today. You can use that discount code SE5 to get €5 off your first purchase, or you can use that discount code SE10 to get 10% off your entire basket. Holy is really a great product, and like I said, they help us out a ton, so hopefully you guys go support them, check them out. I would appreciate that a lot. With that being said, let's get right into this today. So here is Dom's LEC tier list. Obviously I have some boxes that are blocking out those teams, but you can kind of see where the different teams are separated and everything. He's got a nice little smooth bell curve. We can appreciate that, but of course, as always, have to give my little disclaimer. I do think it's a little bit lame having C tier as the lowest tier. I think, hey, if we're trying to make content, if we're trying to give out hot takes, we're trying to give out opinions, you got to have an F tier. You got to throw somebody down in the bottom. You got to say who's the best, who's the worst. It feels really lame that so many people are so scared to you know, put people low down because they have relationships with team players, all that stuff. I know Niski did it, Dom's doing it, whatever. Is the worst team in the LEC this year really a C tier? No one's a D tier, no one's an F tier. I think that's a little bit boring, but whatever. Let's get right into this. At the bottom, I'll also go over the team's roster and stuff to kind of give you guys a reminder. At the bottom, we do have Heretics, who he has ranked as the worst team in the LEC. I don't think this is a super hot take, but I think you could have Heretics a little higher as well. And do I think Heretics is so bad that they deserve to be in a tier of their own? No, I do not. I think there's definitely some other teams that are very, very close to Heretics. So again, obviously you guys need to check out Dominate's video to get his whole, you know, thoughts and opinions and ideologies on why he put these teams in different places. I'm just reacting to where he put them. I do think this is maybe a little bit strange. Heretics is Carlson, Shio, Kamilu, Flocket, and Stend. Now I could definitely see Heretics being the worst team in the league. You know, if Kamilu is just totally not ready for the LEC and ends up being a disaster, this team could be a little bit rough. I do think Shio is a very, very strong player, but other than that, there's kind of 4 question marks or 4 players who could be okay, could be decent, or could be rather weak. But I also think if Kamilu ends up being pretty good and if Shio comes over to this team and is really strong, this team could definitely, I don't know, finish like 7th, 8th, 9th, something like that. I wouldn't be totally shocked. Like I said, I don't have a problem with Heretics being the worst team. I just maybe have a problem with them being in a tier of their own. I don't know if they necessarily deserve that, because we'll go over some of these other teams as well. Next up, he has as his 9th team, and at the bottom of the B tier, he has SK. Now, again, for me, would I say SK's roster right now is a B tier? No. Also, would I have put them at 9th? No, I would have had them higher than 9th, but I probably would have still had them like a C tier because I'm not really that excited about this roster, and I think the offseason went pretty poorly for them. This roster is JNX, Yzma, Reeker, Rahel, and Loopy. Now, Rahel is a very, very strong player, and Loopy coming into them, they have some existing synergy, and I think they will do well together. But I think JNX coming in for Irrelevant, Reeker coming in for Niski are 2 pretty big downgrades, even though I do like Reeker. I think he'll hopefully be a decent player. Overall, this SK lineup is just kind of meh, kind of uninspiring, kind of uninteresting to me. Do I think they're probably better than Team Heretics? Yeah, but if they finished worse or in line with Team Heretics, would I be shocked or surprised? No, not really. But I think it's fine overall where Dom has them. At number 8, we have Team Vitality, who he has in the middle of the B tier. This one I think is a little bit higher up. I think a lot of people will have Team Vitality either 9th or 10th. Yes, they have Carzzy and Hylissang, but is this prime Carzzy and Hylissang? No, not necessarily. I know a lot of people have questions about how strong they'll be or continue to be going forward. But also this top side of the map of Knock-Knocko, Linkus, and Chayek, a lot of question marks. They could be okay. They could be strong. They could develop into some really nice players. They could, you know, figure some things out, but I think overall they have one of the weakest, you know, mid-top jungles in the entire LEC, and that's why I don't really see how they're a whole tier above Team Heretics. To me, this team, I think, is in line with Heretics. Again, I don't have a problem with putting Heretics last, but I think Vitality and SK are closer to Heretics than they're closer to the team he has at the top of the B tier, which might be one of the biggest surprises of the entire list. He has K-Corp. Now, to me, putting K-Corp in the same tier as Vitality and SK That is crazy. That is insane. That is hard to argue for. That is hard to be like, oh, I get this, or oh, it's not a totally crazy take. Like, to me, that is pretty insane. Obviously, it's just a preseason event, but we did just recently see K-Corp take down G2 in the League of Its Own Red Bull event. This K-Corp team is Kana, Yike, Vladdy, Kalista, and Targamas. Now, I get it. Kalista coming in as a rookie. There's question marks about him. Targamas, people have questions whether he's even an LEC level player at this point. But Kana, Yike, Vladdy, and this team's in the same tier, like I said, as Vitality and SK. That is a little bit strange to me. That does not make sense. I think this team is closer to a top 3 team than a bottom 4 team. Now, hey, overall, I think they'll probably finish, 3rd, 4th, 5th, somewhere in there. But I think they have the potential to make some kind of run. I don't think they're necessarily on the level of like G2 or Fnatic. But I think if things go right and if things go wrong for those other teams, if G2's roster moves in the offseason don't work out necessarily how they want, I think this team's a lot closer to moving up than moving down. So to me, this was very, very, very strange. I don't know if Dom is just, going for some inflammatory takes to get the K-Corp fans riled up, or for some engagement farming or what, but to me this was very strange. I do not agree with that. I think K-Corp is pretty grossly low on this list. Getting into the A tier, we have Rogue. Now, this is a little bit of a shocker. Obviously, like just a couple weeks ago, or like a week ago or so, Rogue didn't even have any players on the team. People were kind of writing them off. People were kind of ignoring Rogue for the most part. And then Rogue finally threw together an okay team at the last minute of Adam, Malrong, Larson, Patrick, and Execute. But does the team deserve to be in the A tier? I think absolutely not. Even though their team did end up being a lot better than people thought they necessarily would, still, from what it sounds like, Malrong went to CB LOL and wasn't that good. I know people are really, really low on Patrick right now. Is Execute a pretty nice player? Yeah. Can Larson be a beast at times? Yeah, but he's not in the best form of his career. And yes, Adam is a nice piece, but if this team struggles, if this team has issues, who knows what's going to happen there as well. Overall, I think this team is interesting. I think they're going to be fun to watch. I think they're going to have some exciting games and moments, but I think this team's going to be wildly inconsistent, and I think having them at the A tier, I think having them above K-Corp, that just does not make a lot of sense to me, so I definitely disagree with Dom there. We'll have to see how that plays out. Again, I could see how Rogue could be okay. Obviously, Larson and Malrong have existing synergy. It's worked out well before. Obviously, Adam and Malrong's crazy playstyle could be good. Maybe Patrick has a career resurgence, but there's just so many things that need to go right for Rogue to finish this high in the LEC. I think it's much more likely they're going to be finishing lower, and that they're, just a tier below the roster that K-Corp's put together. Next up, we have Giant X firmly in the middle. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5th place for Giant X. This Giant X roster is Lot, Closer, Jackie's, Noah, and June. Now, that bot side of the map, Jackie's, Noah, June, that is very, very, very clean. Obviously, I have plenty of question marks about Closer and the form that he's showing at this point in his career. Obviously, he's a winner. He's a guy who's had a ton of success, but is he going to have some kind of bounce back? I don't know. And then we have Lot in the top lane, who's a big question mark as well. I don't have a problem with this. I think Giant X is a fun, interesting roster. I think they're going to have some moments. I think they're going to have some good and bad moments. I think middle of the pack is pretty safe and I think pretty realistic for this Giant X roster. I think they have some pieces to build for the future, but I don't think necessarily 2025 is going to be the year where they burst on the map and like make it to Worlds or anything like that, but I think they'll be a competitive team. I think they'll definitely pick up plenty of wins in the LEC this coming season. Next up at number 4, we have BDS. I actually like this a lot. BDS is a team that I'm pretty high on. We have Irrelevant, 113, Nuke, Ice, and Peruse. Now, Irrelevant, huge pickup, one of the most highly coveted players in this past offseason. Some people think he's a little bit overrated, but we're going to find out this year just how good Irrelevant is. Nuke has been, really strong and developing really well. Ice is one of the most underrated players in the entire LEC. And again, Peruse is actually the support that G2 wanted for their team to replace Mickey X. So this BDS lineup has put together a very, very nasty team. Now, obviously, the big question mark is 113 in the jungle, but if he can figure some things out, this team could be very good. But at the end of the day, he could also be the thing that holds them back massively. If 113 does end up really terrible, they could definitely finish below Giant X. They could definitely finish below K-Corp. They could maybe finish below Rogue, but I do like the potential on this team, and if things go right, this team could be very, very, very scary and could go on some kind of nasty run. Next up in the top 3, we have Koi. Now, this one I actually like because I think this Koi team is super fun, but I do have questions about them because, again, this Koi team just made one single change in the offseason. They're bringing back 4 of the same 5 players who had a massive fall off and who had massive shortcomings in the LEC last year. So while I do think JoJo is a huge pickup, I do think JoJo's a massive upgrade over Frescowi, and I do think JoJo is a little bit underrated and slept on right now because I think people are kind of overstating how bad his 2024 was. Is the change from JoJo to Frescowi enough to keep this team consistent and strong enough? I think so. I hope so. I think it's going to be a ton of fun to watch. But again, I do have question marks and things in the back of my mind is why did this team collapse so hard in 2024? And, you know, a lot of those same faces that had that collapse, that downfall are still on this team. How are they going to learn from that? How are they going to build off that? And how are they going to avoid something like that happening again? Especially if JoJo is going to take some time to adjust to Europe and the LEC and the different playstyles and champions and being, you know, a new life halfway across the world and all that stuff. I don't know, but I love the faith that Dom has in Koi, because I think Koi is going to be one of my favorite teams to watch this coming season. Next up, number 2, we have Fanatic. Now, I think this one's a little bit interesting because I do think there is a case to be made for Fanatic over G2, or for Fnatic to at least be in the same tier as G2. Again, Fnatic got Mickey. They got upset. That is a nasty bot lane to go with Oscar, Razork, and Humanoid. Yes, G2 is insane. G2 has a crazy team. Having BB and Hansama and Caps is nasty. But Skewmond and Lebrov coming in are huge question marks, and they could be perfect fits for this G2 team. They could, really just hit the ground running and things go massively well. But it's also very, very possible that Skewmond is going to be a downgrade over Yike. It's also very, very possible that Lebrov is going to be a downgrade for Mickey. It's going to be very, very possible this team takes some time to figure things out, where I think Fnatic maybe has a chance to get off to a little bit of a hotter start. But he does have Fnatic's at second best team in that same tier as Koi. You can't have a huge problem with it. Again, it's probably a spicy take to put Fnatic in the same tier as G2, but I just think there's more of a case to be made for it than people are willing to do. I know G2 is like the untouchable goats, the gods of LEC that no one ever wants to question or, like put teams in contention with them or whatever. And I think, yeah, you have to bet for G2 until another team proves them otherwise. But I think there's some cases to be made that this might be an interesting year for G2 and an interesting year for the LEC overall. But obviously at the top, he does have G2. He's rocking with the GOATs. Again, I have no problem with that. You have Caps, you have Broken Blade, you have Hansama. That's a safe bet at the top. That's a very, very fun and exciting team. But this is what Dom has overall for his LEC Winter Split tier list, the first tier list of all the new roster teams coming into 2025. Again, so far we've been doing a ton of these content creator, pro player tier lists, whatever. If you guys have another tier list that you want to see us react to or cover on this channel, definitely let me know. These videos have been doing pretty well. Let me know what you guys think Dom got right or wrong or anything in between. Hopefully we catch you guys in the next one. Until then, peace.